Welcome to RGTV. I'm here today with Leigh Brash, who is a contemporary art practice graduate who's currently showing her work in the virtual degree show. Leigh, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your work?
I'm Leigh. I graduated in contemporary art practice, specialising in performance art and moving image. And my work is themed around the idea of identity and characterisation.
What did you discover when you were looking into the notion of one's identity through your art?
Originally, I had looked into the idea of identity because I've always had issues with my own identity, be it sexuality, gender issues within myself and self-esteem. So I kind of decided to look into that and play on that, but in a way that I could kind of control it. But also with the aspect of performance art, you can kind of become anyone. So not only could I look into my own identity and what issues I saw with that, but I could kind of become someone else temporarily. And none of the things that I'd experienced would be there with this person that I'd created, if that makes sense.
In my experience, actually, if you pretend to be something else, you eventually become that thing.
I mean, yeah, this is true, I guess. I think with the whole idea of having a character in mind, that character didn't have issues, that character was extremely confident, whatever, and I feel like that's kind of become part of it. With playing into this, you kind of develop the confidence, and the confidence to even go out in the middle of Aberdeen in green full body paint and not care about it as well.
It definitely takes a lot of confidence. Yeah, I saw. I've watched all your videos and stuff, and the balloon shield on Belmont Street, for example, that would take a lot of confidence. It was highly entertaining to watch. What kind of reactions and stuff did you get from people doing that?
See, because that one was filmed obviously during lockdown, there wasn't really many people about, but it was the odd kind of glare. But that was inspired by a previous performance I did last year, which was kind of a similar thing, because wearable sculpture down Belmont Street, whatever, and there was a lot of comments and people laughing and taking photos and stuff, and that's the whole reason why I do it, because public perception, I think that's really interesting.
And the shield itself, that was linked to the whole coronavirus thing, maybe?
Yeah, it was made in response to social distancing and having a barrier between you and other people.
There was one which I found particularly interesting as well, actually, which was walking my dog. We're definitely going to have to get people to do.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about that inspired this. Yeah. Was ridiculous. I'd made these stupid big shoes out of expanding foam, and I had to walk with my feet spread very apart, and it was just a nightmare. But it was fun, and I think because people found it funny, I got more out of it.
It's really fun to watch as well, and I think the dog as well that we're walking was a really nice touch as well. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, an important question is, where does your love of drag culture come from as well?
I've always kind of loved drag because it's silly and fun, and I'm a very silly person. I don't take anything very seriously, but also just the fact that it's a pure art form, all the makeup and creating a look and everything being completely from the imagination. I think that's really interesting, but also the fact that drag artists, are expressing themselves and their emotions and identity through their appearance, which is something I find myself doing without thinking, not even within my art, just in my own personal life. I'm quite expressive in the way I look, and I think that that's an interesting thing. Drag itself is performance art, so I just find it really interesting.
Why the colour green? What does it mean to you?
It's quite a funny one, because I think people always think green's my favourite colour, but it's not. I've had green hair since I was 14, so it's kind of just been, okay, well, I just, in the studio one day, just decided to paint myself green. Just did it. And then from that, created a whole body of work, practice, persona, whole thing. But it wasn't something I planned. I kind of just, green hair, green body paint. I didn't really have much connection with green other than it was my grandmother's favourite colour. And that's just something that's stuck within me. But as for like me, it's not really something I have like a particular connection to, but I do now, because obviously I've developed this whole green persona. So now green is the thing, but it's not like I particularly enjoy the color green.
What was the reason for the such bold aesthetics and the silliness as well?
I think that more just comes from me as a person. Like, I'm very silly and find everything very funny, and I just think the aesthetics were more like a lo-fi approach to doing things and exploring identity, but also just kind of like the way I liked doing it. Like, I wasn't really bothered about fancy technology or, you know, editing perfectly. I wanted it to be choppy. I wanted it to be like a bit jagged and overwhelming for the viewer, you know, create their own narrative on what was going on. And the whole identity thing, you know, it's my identity I was exploring and factors within that, but then it becomes its own thing and people can take from it as they will, you know, an alien character doing things.
But tell me more about the green guy.
So the tiny green guy originally was called Leigh, because obviously my name's Leigh and broccoli is green, very simple. And then it kind of evolved because my Instagram was tiny green guy, my artist Instagram, and I kind of just took from that and decided to like name the character that, call my website that. And the character itself, kind of alien character, drag artist. Yeah, the persona as such, I wanted the character to be very confident and, you know, self-assured and not worrying about other people's perceptions. I feel like I sometimes do think too much about what other people think about me, compare myself to other people, whatever. But the character in itself, it kind of didn't have any like specifics that set the character apart from me other than the confidence, and like the character was always green and always will be green. And you know what I was doing, I would explore within the character, like a performance piece or a video piece, I would be the character. And I think I explored a lot of different things within that. Like this year especially, looked a lot into like audiovisual work and like focus more on like audio and sound work and stuff like that. But the character itself was always a permanent fixture regardless of the situation.
So he'll be around for a while in the future as well for more projects.
So yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, could develop other characters within that, I think, but I think that the green is here to stay.
There's a lot of interesting things on your website actually. Is there any specific reason that you chose the works that are in your room over the other things that you could have chose?
Yeah, if were we to have a physical degree show like we originally planned, my space was going to be like an installation with 3D works and like pictures as well as film, and probably like live performance within the space. But because we couldn't do that because it was a digital show, I decided to curate it in a way that was only video works, because I thought that would be more in keeping with the whole like digital realm, and like the virtual aspect kind of wanted it to be like more like me doing things online and video works. So I thought that would respond better. Originally I had 5 videos in the space, but we were told we were only allowed 3 for the final show, so I had to cut 2. And I chose the ones that I did because I thought they fit better with the room itself and seemed more alien and more isolating. And the whole vibe of the room, I wanted it to be like really overwhelming to the viewer and like jarring, like not really fully understanding what's going on. And I think with the loud music that plays in the room as well with one of the videos, that really adds to that.
Talk me through that a little bit, your actual choice of the design of the room.
I was playing around with it to begin with because I'd never really done anything like that, and my god, the website was so difficult to work and to create the space. Like my room kept deleting itself, it wasn't working, and I kind of had the walls just straight up green to begin with, but then I was like, what if I put an image in? So I was looking at images of like circuit boards and things, because I thought like for that alien isolated vibe, it would feel a bit like a spaceship or like, you know, like alien headquarters or something like that. And I thought that would be really in fitting with the work.
It totally works. It's created the right kind of vibe and atmosphere and stuff for an introduction to the tiny green guy. It's It's really nicely done. So when we first go in the room, on our right-hand side, we have the Balloon 2 video, which is your balloon shield. Do you want to give me a little bit more info on that one?
Yeah, Balloon 2 was a performance piece. I made two versions of it. One was silent, and one obviously had that audio over the top of it, which I chopped up and like made very distorted, very dystopian sounding, which I think totally changed the vibe of the piece itself than having a silent one, which I thought, you know, the sound worked with the room. I thought it was like, you know, quite weird, quite odd, a bit kind of scary. There was supposed to be other audio going on. It was all meant to be very overlapping, but I don't think the room could handle it. So that's why only one is playing. And that's why that's the only one with sound. I'm kind of glad that's the only one with sound, because that's the one that's the most jarring.
Okay, and then we have Balloon 3. Do you want to give us a bit more info on Balloon 3?
I had done a photo series with all the balloons. I have these huge windows in my living room and I shut them so it was very claustrophobic, like I was in a tiny box, and I put lots of balloons in there and just kind of played with them and got photos, whatever. But then I decided to film it and see what that would look like. And when I was like playing, I made two of these as well. So like one was just full size and one I edited. So like the composition of the video was very small and everything in the room was like gone. It was just like you had to like focus on this like tiny little box in the corner. And I thought that as well was very isolating. Both Balloon 2 and Balloon 3 in the show were made in response to COVID-19. So that feeling of isolation during lockdown and like, you know, felt very alien, which is in keeping with the whole tiny green guy persona. So that's why I included both of them.
Yeah, there's some really nice images of it as well on your website, as well as the video. Yeah, link in bio. Okay, so next we have, which is on the wall on the left-hand side when you walk in, is It's Only Getting Thicker, which is the tiny green guy in the bath. And do you want to give us a little bit more information about the video itself?
The idea behind it, I bought this weird thing on Amazon that's for children, and it like turns your bath water into slime, which I was never allowed as a child, but I can understand why my parents didn't allow me to have it because it was disgusting. And the bath turned into this green horrible sludge, and I decided to film myself playing with it with no audio. I was going to record audio over the top of it, but the sludge itself and the bath and the completely like whiteness of the bathroom looked like a flotation tank. And I thought that was really interesting and fit with the whole alien thing again. And I'd watched the film Under the Skin, the Scarlett Johansson film, hadn't seen it ever. My tutors recommended that I watched it, and that whole film kind of inspired this. Not saying it's a very good film, because it's not, but it inspired the alien in the bath kind of thing. And the audio over the top, which I thought would have played in the degree show space, would have worked because it was about water and it was very weird and it was me speaking a lot. And that play, but I still think that the video works in the space because it looks as if I'm looking at the person in the space. There's a lot of like eye contact. It's a bit weird, but there wasn't really much idea behind that. I don't really plan workout ideas, kind of just come to me and I just do it quite impulsively. But I thought filming in the bath with that sludge stuff would be a really good idea. And then I was in the bath and it was horrible and I never wanted to do it ever again.
Okay, what would you like to experiment with or create in the future?
I want to make larger scale work. I want to explore sound installation a lot and audio-visual installation. I want to do longer performances with more space, audience participation maybe. I don't really have set plans so far. I just know that I want to like keep doing in green.
What are your plans now that you've graduated?
I don't know. With coronavirus, I lost my job just now, so oh god, it's not working again. I'm just kind of I still want to make art and I'm planning on doing that, but it's more just kind of finding a job and getting back to normal and getting back to having a stable life with a routine. And so that's kind of my main focus just now. Obviously, I want to create, I want to keep doing, I want to keep making, but just now the main focus is staying sane, getting a job and making money.
If you had an unlimited budget, what type of performance would you like to create?
God, it would be really interesting to create sets and create a whole set to do a performance in or to make a film in. I've been doing a short course just now in production design.
Mm-hmm.
So like interested in like props and sets and like things that go on behind the scenes in films that make films. So if I had a lot of money, I could make some mad props, sets, environments to create work in, but obviously I don't. So the Degree Show is still ongoing. You can check it out at the Gray's Show website. My link to my website, my personal website's there, and my Instagram. But other than that, I don't have anything else to plug.